Hello, I'm Mark Price. I'd like to talk to you today about marriage. But first, God approached Adam after he had been in the Garden of Eden for quite some time. He was all alone, and God said, I see you here, I see you're happy, but I think you're lonely. So he says, I've decided to make a companion for you. You will call her woman, and I want you to know that woman will be there to meet your every need. She will be there to make you happy when you're sad, to pick you up when you're down, to make your meals, to make your bed. She'll be there to do all the chores, everything that needs to be done for you around the house. Whenever something goes wrong, she will take immediate blame for it, accept all blame for everything that goes wrong in not only your life, but in the garden. Anything that happens, she's responsible, and she will gladly, with a smile, accept total responsibility. She will bear you children, take all the pain of bearing you children, and allow you to have time to really spend doing what you want to do, to relax and enjoy this beautiful garden. And Adam says to God, wow, that would be wonderful, God. He says, what would this cost? And God said to Adam, well, an arm and a leg. Adam thought for a minute and he said, what could I get for a rib? There you go. The rest, my dear friends, is history. The reading today is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 19, verses 3 through 12. Some Pharisees approached Jesus and tested him, saying, is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any cause whatever? He said in reply, have you not read, from the beginning the Creator made them male and female and said, for this reason a man shall leave his father and his mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, man must not separate. They said to him, then why did Moses command that the man give the woman a bill of divorce and dismiss her? He said to them, because of the hardness of your hearts, Moses allowed you to divorce your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so. I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, unless the marriage is unlawful, and marries another, commits adultery. His disciples said to him, if that is the case of a man and his wife, it is better not to marry. He answered, not all can accept this word, but only those to whom that is granted. Some are incapable of marriage because they were born so. Some because they were made so by others. Some because they have renounced marriage for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Whoever can accept this ought to accept it. The Gospel of the Lord. So there's actually a lot in this, but I'm going to focus on marriage, the coming together of two people in what we know as marriage. And my typical day, and the way I handle these reflections, I get up very early. I have for many, many years, most of my life, 5 a.m., 5:30. And the first thing I do now that I'm doing the reflections is I get out the readings for the day. I read them, all of the readings, but I concentrate on the gospel because that's what I'm focusing mainly on in these reflections. And then I think about it, I pray about it, I have 2 cups of coffee while I'm deliberating what I'm going to say, the direction I want to take with the readings. Sometimes, like this morning, I might have an idea that I want more information on. So as I was figuring out the direction I wanted to go, I asked myself, why do people get married and why do people get divorced? And so I Googled it. Good old Google. It was Saint Google was from, I think, the 4th century. So I turned to Saint Google, and Saint Google said to me that as I typed in main reasons for marriage, main reasons for divorce, they gave me this. The main reasons for marriage are love, financial benefits, health insurance, to have children, legal reasons, religious reasons, and society's expectations. So those are the main reasons given through, as of today, from many studies, many polls, talking to people as to why they got married. Those are the main reasons. The main reasons for divorce, according to polls and surveys as of today, grew apart, arguments, lack of respect, lack of commitment, unfaithfulness, and domestic violence. So that is what people are saying, according to these studies, are the reasons they got married and the reasons they get divorced. Now, one thing that's interesting, in the reading today, when it talked about two people coming together, it doesn't mention love. It doesn't mention financial benefits or health insurance or to have children or legal reasons. Well, it does infer children, legal reasons, religious reasons, or society's expectations. It says very clearly, and Jesus emphasizes from Genesis, the first book in the Bible, it's for two to become one. Two to become one. That's the reason we should get married. Love is a reason we might want to become one with the other. Financial benefits might be a reason, but the core reason, the bottom line reason, according to God, that we should get married in the first place is because the two want to become one. And I think we miss that. We really do miss it. I know that when you go to weddings, you'll hear the many times the gospel reading, or you'll hear the Old Testament reading of, God made man, he made woman, and he meant for them to leave their mother, father, and become one. We hear these readings time and again at weddings, but and I know in my church, that's taught that it is about two becoming one, but I don't know that people grasp it. I think they're so caught up in all these other ancillary reasons as to why they're going to get married or why they want to get married. Love, for example, is by far number one, and love, I don't necessarily know what that means, because love is an emotion and it means one thing to these people and one thing to those people. A lot of people think, oh, it's candy and flowers and Hallmark greeting cards. Anyone that's been married more than 10, 15 minutes knows that love is a little bit more difficult than that. So there's a lot more to this thing called love. But I think that part of the problem in our world today is we've lost sight of the importance of God's words. God's words say you get married because you are made to become man, woman, two becoming one. Two, you and your partner, your spouse, becoming one. Now, how does this happen? A couple days ago in a reflection, I talked about dying to yourself. For us to become one with our partner, for us to become one with this person that we love or we want to be together with, if we really want to make two one, we have to die to ourselves. We have to set aside our pride, our ego, those things that make us who we are as an individual. We literally have to die to become a new creation. Die to ourselves to become this one creation, two in one. But most of us find it very, very difficult to die to ourselves, to let the old self go. We go into marriage thinking, well, I'm going to bring who I am into it. Well, you can, as long as it meshes with the two. And a seed, as Jesus tells us in other readings, has to die to bring about new life. To become a Christian, we have to die to ourselves, to be born again. To become true to one another in marriage, we both parties have to die to themselves, die to their old ways, die to the old things that pull them in these different directions, die to that so they can be born again anew as new creations, as one. So that's what we're called to do. But it's interesting to me that the reasons for marriage don't ever mention, well, I really want to be one with my partner. I really want to be one with this woman that I love, or this woman that I want better health insurance, or I want financial benefits, or I want to have children, or for legal reasons, or religious reasons, or society's expectations. They seem to miss out that part about, I want to die to myself so I can become one with this person that I want to be married to. So that's what we're called to do. And because we sort of miss that, so many people end up in divorce for the reasons I gave and many more. They grew apart. They had arguments. They had a lack of respect, a lack of commitment, unfaithfulness, and domestic violence. All are reasons that people give for divorce. But God wants us to stay together. At the time of Jesus, people were allowed to get divorced because of this Mosaic law that said that that a man could, and he can get it in Deuteronomy, that a man could and should, if he's going to get divorced, serve his wife with a bill of divorcement. We know that in scriptures that Joseph, St. Joseph, they even considered divorcing her. So it was legal. But what Jesus plainly says here, that was not the will of the Father. The will of the Father is for two people to become one. Two people to become one. And divorce was not part of what God had in mind. He wanted us to become one. I think in society today, it's much too easy to get married, and it is much too easy to get divorced. Therefore, very little importance is put on this idea of dying to self, dying to your old ways, so you can take on new ways as one, as a one new creation in God. And that's what really we have to do. Since 1999, I've been asked to speak and do performances for a group called Retrouvaille. And I always talk about them with the greatest admiration and respect, because they are a ministry that works to save marriages. And I always tell them two things. One, that you want to save the world, you do it one family at a time. Number two, you want to see live, living, walking, breathing miracles, just look at any Retrouvaille couple. To be a Retrouvaille couple in leadership, it means that it wasn't long ago you were fighting with each other, you were doing everything you could to divorce each other and bad-mouthing each other, but somehow through this ministry and this process, these people have come back together. They've understood this two becoming one. They've reunited as one. And to see them holding hands and having their arm around each other, or even giving each other a kiss, to me, that is a living miracle of our day. And that's why I am so moved when I see people in Retrouvaille. A little boy was talking to his dad one day, asking questions. His dad was busy, had things to do, and so he looked down and he saw a magazine with a map of the world, and he said, "Son, come here." And he tore that map of the world into 100 little pieces, and he said, "Take this into your room, get some Scotch tape, think of it as a jigsaw puzzle, tape it all back together perfect. When you have the map of the world taped back together perfect, you come in, I'll answer all your questions." Kind of a manipulative dad. He thought he had maybe a couple hours. Do you know that boy had that thing taped back together perfect in 10 minutes? 10 minutes. He came back into his dad and he said, "Here, I did it, Dad." And his father was amazed. He was impressed. He was so impressed, he turned off the television. And he said, "Son, how did you do that? How did you get it put back together so quick?" The little boy said, "Well, Daddy, I noticed that on the back of the map of the world, there was a picture of a family. And I just kind of figured if I could put the family together, the world would just sort of somehow take care of itself." So what Jesus is talking about in today's reading and telling us what God wanted, he wanted the family to be together. The only way we can stay together is if we truly understand this concept of two becoming one. Amen? This is Mark Price. Thanks for listening.